Good afternoon. If you saw my previous video that I posted a couple of days ago, it briefly showed you steps on how to be recruited into Civil Air Patrol. Well, I wanted to make this second video a layout of my career and what I have experienced in CAP. So, before we get started, please sure to like and subscribe, and to all of my Civil Air Patrol friends out there, from everyone in the wing, everyone in the region, the entire nation, thank you for what you have done with the program. I know you'll probably say the same thing to me, but again, just to say thank you, and also I wish you guys luck for those of you who join. And let's get started. Where do I begin? My first day in Civil Air Patrol began in December 15, 2015. A friend of mine named Coy Shelton recruited me into CAP. The whole thing that got me interested into the program is that when I was a little kid, I'm 16 now, when I was at least 9 or 10 years old, I always loved the thought of people flying in these cool looking planes, tens of thousands of feet in the air at such high speeds. So that was really the biggest thing that got me into wanting to be part of CAP and being part of the military, the Air Force. So that started, and then Coy, my friend Coy, he was in CAP. I think he joined in 2014, because he's a year older than me. He's 17. He's going to be turning 18 this year, as I will be turning 17 this year. Yeah, so he joined, I forget what month he was, but he joined a year before me. He brought me in. He was already a cadet airman first class at the time. I came in. The program, the squadron that we were part in, started out as a small group of Henderson Composite Squadron cadets. And those cadets that were leading us, me, were basically my mentors. After that, when me and Coy were in there, I am basically one of the founding members of Vegas Valley Composite Squadron. That after the first year and a half I've been in CAP, our squadron became our own squadron as Vegas Valley. So ever since I joined the squadron, I was like, this is it. I wanted to do this. I had such high interest that taught me a lot on what it takes to be a pilot, because that's what I wanted to do when I go into the Air Force soon. And then a lot of things happened. I went to my first CAP event was, I'm pretty sure it was BCS ATS. Now BCS ATS stands for Basic Cadet School / Airman Training School. I went through both of those events. I've graduated both of them, and I've participated as staff as there as well. The last time I was there as staff, the first time I staffed at that event, was the first sergeant. I participated as a first sergeant for that event. Anyways, after that, I participated in other events such as space camp. The first time I went to a space camp, I went to visit a meteor crater. My God, was it big. If I remember correctly, the estimated distance was 50 football fields. 50 football fields. That's how big the crater was. Well, as far as length. I don't know exactly how deep it goes or how wide it is, whatever. But the next thing I remember doing was my first encampment, my basic year at encampment. When I first read up on it, I read about that they were going to be yelling, like military yelling, which I didn't quite understand. But then I'm up in Reno at the National Guard Army base, and then I hear the cadre come in and started screaming, "Get outside, get your stuff, get outside now, put your covers on, grab your canteens, whatever, move fast," stuff like that. And I was kind of like, what the hell is going on? I didn't know what was going on, and so I was like, okay, they're telling me to go outside, just go. Because at first when they were telling me to go outside, I was like, okay, they're my staff, they're my leaders, I need to listen, I need to pay attention. I immediately went out that door. And then I've participated so far in 3 encampments. The first one was my basic year. The second year I graduated, I was selected for support staff for an administrative NCO. At that time, I was ranked a cadet staff sergeant. So I passed the first 3 achievements: airman, airman first class, senior airman, and then on to the NCO phase of cadet staff sergeant. And that was my first year as staff, which I would admit was pretty fun. Although the first thing that I was interested in applying for was a flight sergeant, because I wanted to be able to experience what the line staff experienced, as far as yelling at the cadets, telling them what to do, making sure that they understand the standards and what to follow, remembering their memory work. But I was able to do that for my 3rd year. The 3rd year, however, the location in the National Guard Army base, we usually have been doing that since the year 2012. We've been doing encampment at that location since then. But then all of a sudden the location closed down. We don't know why, we never will find out. But we went to the Rising Star Hotel up in Mesquite. That's here in Nevada. Excuse me. And then I first wanted to apply for first sergeant, because at that time I moved up in the NCO phase. I was at the time a senior master sergeant. At first I was applying for a first sergeant because I was already the first sergeant at my home squadron, so Vegas Valley. And it seemed that I had more qualifications for a flight sergeant for some reason. I don't know, but that year I was like, okay, this is what I'm really wanting to do, but any staff position would be okay for me. If I get on staff, no matter what position, I'm okay with it. But the first sergeant was really what I was shooting for, but instead I got flight sergeant, which again was okay for me. And then, but that encampment though was complete trash. I cannot say why. That information is classified. As well as I forget what else was. But anyways, before the time of my 3rd year encampment, it was after the 2nd year. I was 2 years in serving with CAP. It was after New Year's. We were coming into 2016. I'm pretty sure, right? No, we were coming into 2017. Yeah, 2K17. And one of my senior officers come to me and says, "How would you like to start a color guard team?" I said, "That sounds like a great idea." I was a master sergeant. I was a technical sergeant promoting to master sergeant at that time. So he comes to me and says, "How would you like to start a color guard team?" I said, "Great. What is it?" So I did some research and I started beginning my journey with the color guard. And then we took on some things, such as we took on the wing competition, which luckily we got first place. I say luckily, I mean, my team literally just got lucky. Because one, it was the first year that I had a color guard team at all. It was the first time having a color guard team, so I was just, okay, it was mostly the purpose was for experience. So that way, if we ever happen to do color guard competition again, which unfortunately this year we will not be able to, and here's why. The majority of my cadets that I've recruited in the color guard that were highly experienced weren't able to do it because they had other plans, and I can't stop them from interrupting their time with whatever they have planned. That doesn't work. So I was just like, okay, and also because even if I recruited 2 more cadets to be part of the team who have no idea what they're doing, the competition is in 2 months. It's not going to be enough time because throughout the next month, I'm only training on the weekends because, of course, through weekdays, they have school and they have other plans. And even if on the weekends, some of the cadets may have other plans on the weekends too. So I'm going, it may not happen, which is not. And I did have a backup plan, which in this case was just picking out random days to do presentation of the colors at events like football games, basketball games at schools. There was President's Day. There's President's Day that's coming up in February. Stuff like that. Anyways, what happened at the competition was that there were a total of 3 teams in that competition, including mine. One of the teams was bottom at 3rd place. But my team and I were tied with another team, which was Henderson. We were literally hanging in balance. If they hadn't put their flag upside down on the flag during reveille and retreat, if they haven't put it upside down on the pole, we wouldn't have won. But somehow they ended up putting it upside down on the pole, which is a sign of war. And we took first place. We took our first trophy home. We didn't get past regionals though because, of course, we weren't that experienced. So we were just doing this for mainly experience, which was okay. Anyways, ever since then, I've been working as a first sergeant with my home squadron. I've been participating in other events such as encampment. I've participated in Wreaths Across America twice. Wreaths Across America is a ceremony that happens, I believe, the week before winter break starts. I think it was like 4 days before. I don't know, but anyways, it's an event that everyone, all of the armed forces, not just Civil Air Patrol and the Air Force. There's the Army, there's the Marines, there's the Navy, the Coast Guard, the of course Air Force and Civil Air Patrol. There's also the junior ROTC cadets from Navy, Marines, Air Force, Army, you name it. Every single armed forces all come together at the Veterans Cemetery that's in Boulder City. And we all have like somewhat of it's technically like a celebration and honoring of the veterans that have fought for our country, for our freedom back in the days as the Vietnam War, World War II, World War I, basically times like that. And last year, this recent one, before we came into 2019, I was placed as a wreath bearer for the Air Force. So what happened was we're marching in with me and 2 men from the Air Force. We're marching in a column formation, and then we face our Air Force flag. And then we basically pivot over. We hand off the wreath from each other. I pivot over and place it on the stand, and then we just salute the Air Force flag and we march back off. Which I will admit was one of the best moments of my life because I have such high respect for our military, for our veterans, basically everyone. So, and within the times of not participating in events such as encampment, BCS, ATS, and then there's NCOS, which is non-commissioned officer school, NCO school. I went to that and graduated and been in staff as well. But other than those events, the only other things I remember doing throughout the year were fundraising events, which we basically purposed for Reese Across America. So we usually done it at the Las Vegas Drive-In, and we would be meeting up at the drive-in at around 4 o'clock. We start at about 5 o'clock, give us an hour to set up, and then we would basically just ask people to donate, because we're trying to get as much wreaths as possible to be able to place on the graves of veterans. This recent one, the Reese Across America that just happened, we had 5,000 placed on their graves, which surprisingly is not such a big number if you know how many graves are actually in that cemetery. There are at least 30,000 graves in that entire cemetery. I'm not kidding. It's an enormous cemetery. We try to get to as close as 30,000 wreaths, and even if we wanted to, in case if we didn't have enough, we would get extra than the total of the graves we're supposed to have. Because 2 years ago, when I attended it for the first time, we tried to get 33,000 wreaths. Because again, there's 30,000 graves in that cemetery. So if we needed that extra, just in case if we ever ran out, then we have extra 3,000 to make sure that every single veteran gets it, because they all deserve it. They all deserve it. They did something completely unforgettable for us. And that's basically what I've been doing the past year and the year before that. And basically throughout the first 2 years when I've been in CAP as well. Well, technically not the first year, because the first year is when I technically speaking, I joined right before we came into 2016, because it was December 15th, 2015, and then after that we came into 2016. So technically, I've been going on right now at least three and a half years, and since 2019 started, it has now been 4. But I'm now currently ranked Cadet Chief Master Sergeant. I am working for my sustained rank right now, which is the 2nd level of Chief Master Sergeant, which also happens to be the last promotion of the NCO phase. Because then after that, I have to deal with a closed book exam, 2 of them actually, one based off of leadership and another off of aerospace. Our tests that we have to complete to gain promotions are based off these books that we read. There are 2 leadership books that we read, and there are 6 aerospace books that we read. And for the milestone exam that I'm going to be doing soon is the leadership exam, which is based off of both of the books. So I'm going to be reading a lot of that for a while. I'm going to be studying a lot of both books, Volume 1 and Volume 2. And then the aerospace one, that is also a closed book, is off of all 6 books. There's 6 module books. They're not that long as much as the leadership books, but it kind of makes sense. They're pretty much the same. You got 2 enormous leadership books, but then you have 6 paper thin books for aerospace. But it's worth it, because then after that, I pass the NCO phase and I go into the officer phase, which brings me to the rank of Cadet 2nd Lieutenant. And currently, uh, this past Monday, because Mondays are my usual weekly meetings, I recently just had my interview for staff selection for being the official cadet commander for the squadron. Because I mentioned earlier that there was a situation at my third encampment. Again, I'm not going to say anything because it's classified. But I will say that it led to suspensions that 3 of those suspensions were literally the entire executive staff in my squadron. So we lost my entire executive staff in my squadron, and I was a first sergeant by that time. So I was pretty much next in line. My squadron commander comes up and tells me, I need you to take charge of it because we have nobody else. Well, I mean, the first time we still had another officer in the squadron that took of it for a while, but his suspension came late, which then I took over acting as cadet commander, which it didn't make me official. I was acting, but I now just had my interview, and I'm now just waiting. I'm praying and I'm waiting. Man, am I getting goosebumps about it. Because it's a big deal. It is really something that I'm really looking forward to. Another big thing that did give me goosebumps, I will say, but this thing though, I almost cried. I'm admitting right now that I almost cried when I got this. Another one of my senior members in the squadron comes to me and tells me that you're being nominated for a submission award. I was like, what? So then he tells me not to share with anybody. So I'm going, okay, I won't tell anybody. He emails it to me after leaving the meeting, and then I read it says, Dear National Headquarters, I, Captain Margison, nominate Chief Master Sergeant Schneider for the Air Force Association Award. The Air Force Association Award, it's probably as much as a big deal as getting a Carl Spaatz milestone. Now that milestone, in real quick, is actually the last rank that you get. It's the highest rank, which is a cadet colonel. It's the milestone of the entire thing in this case. It's as much as a big deal as that, in my opinion. So I'm going, wow. There were so many things that there was a full list of accomplishments that I have been doing for the past 4 years that I have been with CAP. That showed as proof of why I should be nominated to be receiving the Air Force Association Award. It's such a rare award, it's not even funny. I'm not kidding. Last year, it was either last year or the year before, or it was either back in 2K18 or 2K17 that only 3 cadets in the entire nation got that award. And my friend Coy was one of them. Which is also a pretty big deal because not many cadets receive that award. You have to be highly active, you have to be highly participating. There's so many things that you have to do to be able to be even nominated for such a thing. And I thought it was pretty cool. Again, I almost cried. I got teary-eyed and all, but I was happy like a freaking puppy who comes to see his owner after coming back from being deployed. Anyways, that's pretty much my entire career that I spent with CAP. I've had a lot of fun. Sure, I've witnessed and had some flaws in the past 4 years, and I'm willing to put my foot down to experience a 5th one. So, thank you guys for watching this, and thank you everyone in my squadron for my former leaders, I say this: thank you for making me who I am now. And I say this to my future squadron that I hopefully soon will be taking command of. I will make the best squadron out of everyone. I will make this squadron our own, as I've already done in the past, but so much better. So be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to join CAP, my email will be down below. Send me an email if you're interested in joining. Kids with the age of 12 years and older can join. The age limit to be a cadet is 21 years of age. Senior members can join as young as 18 years of age. Again, my email address will be down below in the description. And Semper Vigilance, guys. Again, that means always vigilant, which is the CAP motto. Thank you guys for watching.